And it looks like some good news heading to that area, and we're very happy about that. But today is World Fisheries Day, and it's celebrated every year on the 21st of November throughout the world by fishing communities and stakeholders. The World Fisheries Day helps in highlighting the critical importance of fisheries to human lives and the lives it sustains both in and out of water. However, a recent United Nations study reported that more than 2/3 of the world's fisheries have been overfished or fully harvested, and more than 1/3 are in a state of decline because of factors such as illegal, unreported, the loss of essential fish habitats, pollution, and global warming. Unless we address these issues collectively, the crisis will deepen. The World Fisheries Day helps to highlight these problems and moves towards finding solutions to the increasingly interconnected problems we are facing, and in the longer term, to sustainable means of maintaining fish stocks. Joy News editor Martha Krenzel Aqua has been speaking to some fishermen at Jamestown on illegal and unregulated practices that may thwart efforts to save the sector.
Sa nege amoni ne amba ashkon to ni wachalo di nyo segaba kam nyi segaba if you wo wole fe se na mo da ga lo wudi ba na bolio si bia nege ma jani fe egme wo istale ga she istale ke anu poku nege bia me gbugbu awole fe e ba ni si ne fe na kan wo amenye ameba da ga lo ebe ko ba pe o wa fite o e wale ko oshika
no ni le na ya wuya ya miniji kaniye ejo ansho ni ekoma no tomo aga Angola gbeneke ejo amensho naga maji agbeme amelo America babie ke China chemi amelo America babie no nege maji ani bi ni no jino ni jo awon sho kane aboneke DDT aboneke kabadi na meke fio nege maji ani bi ni fe nege ga yin wo mi wo Great Accra bele na tomo enyo pe ji meni chuo nege maji anu chumo sekaja Central region ke Western region amela amekpene kokro amela no so jino ni amechu nige wokwe wonsho ejwa ke to bi
no ni krede ni gba ona ye wo ya mi peji troller cheme fishing troller ke chana bi na me gba ya enwe ya je no na me gba anukwale ame ha lo abashpon ni ke wote wo wona lo papako ojugba lo no ni wona ji bua bi ke amoni lo bibi lo wona gbani wo bua na kanskana ni wo ke kwa wonyum at the same time enwe amiyen ya je na amiyen ko na ko mekele afa bi ko su ko me unkele bi ke na me ka brain show na me ka salo wudie fe na eje me no won pamra lo fai ni ke chana chemi na agi amiyen wote ko na fe ni lo abashkun ni wana fe ni wotolele chemi ni won wona ko ni won wo ke ko sika ko afunshi eje aga ni bi jalawa tonde jalawa ya jalawa woni wo gbemeti woni wo ko kwa bleach ente ya sun jijemi ana tonde ahe.
And these three gentlemen speak of three major issues, or four actually. They talk about light fishing, the use of DDT and carbide, and also the fact that there are a lot of Chinese trolleys which are causing a very low harvest when they go out to fish. They're appealing to the government to intervene so that they too can be able to sustain their work, because they're catching fingerlings when they go out there, so they're not actually able to get proper fish that they need to be able to sell and sustain their families. But I'm joined in the studio by Mr. Che Kojo-Yamwa. He's from Friends of the Nation, and we're going to have a conversation about fish and what's going on with our sea and our fishes. Good morning, how are you?
Good morning, how are you too?
I'm very well, thank you. So we're at the point in the fight against illegal fishing methods that is critical. But what does the future really look like for our fishing industry if we are not able to tackle this? And just before you come in, one of the gentlemen said, and I quote, he said, if this continues, we will not have fish in the sea in a year's time. Is that a correct reflection of what's going on?
Yes, actually the scientific study has proven that if we don't take critical action, and I mean critical action, that is drastic measures we would lose our fish. Already, Ghana's fishery is overfished. It means that the fish that we used to catch, we are not getting that. Gone are the days that we used to see bumper harvest, that fishermen and there's fish everywhere. Now it's not like that. And the multitude of people that fishery support are really suffering. When you go to fishing communities, you see poverty. You see dependence on the fishery resources left to their fate. And these are serious issues that needs to be dealt with. And today being World Fisheries Day, it's a critical day that we can highlight some of these issues. For instance, we talk about illegal, unreported, unregulated fishing. There are pretty, good laws in fisheries, but the fact is that they need to be enforced. There is no need having a law and not enforcing the law. And because of the non-enforcement and the low compliance with fisheries laws, there's widespread illegal fishing to the detriment of even us, the consumers of the local fish, and also to the fisher folks that largely depend on this fish.
Okay, so these gentlemen talk about light fishing, the use of DDT, carbide. I mean, they know that these things are harming the environment or the sea or the fish, but they continue to do that?
Yes, the fact is where the resources is dwindling, then there is high competition. So other methods, illegal methods are used to improve harvesting. And in that, we have the use of these obnoxious substances to aid the catching of more fish. And the fact is that the sector needs to be regularized. The laws needs to be enforced, and that is key. Without that, we open up the space of the fishing to all these things. And the marine space is very wide, and it needs to ensure that the systems are in place to ensure that whoever attempts to use any obnoxious substances or illegal methods is caught. And the actions must be said that it should be detrimental so that we can have proper deterrence. These are very important steps to take in fisheries governance.
But I mean, we had a closed season this year. Do you think that helped in any way?
One, the idea of a closed season is good. First of all, I'm a member of the Scientific Technical Working Group that even proposed this closed season in the first place. So the idea of the closed season is good. It gives people the perception that the fish needs to be protected. But the timing for the artisanal fishers, May 15 to June 15, was not the optimal period that was required. The optimal period should be between July to September, where the fish is producing, is spawning. That is where you need to protect the fish. But from a start is good because the perception is there. The mental setup by the fisher folks have now been enlightened that we need to close the season. So moving into 2020, we need to do it and do it right in the right timing.
So just like you said, so 2020, you're hoping that we'll move the close season to between July and September?
Yes, and we're also hoping that it would be done with close consultation with the fisher folks so that we can have massive compliance. And it should be done in the spawning period. And basically, between July and September should be the period for which this should be done. I must admit, though, that the government in the 2020 budget statement had said there will be 2 months close season for all fleet, and actually it should be for all fleet. When we close the season and we want to get results, all fishermen must be off, not some fishing and some off. So that is a good idea that has to be done. But before closed season can have maximum impact, we need to deal with the illegalities in the system. If you don't deal with the illegalities, it's like fetching water with a basket. It will be leaking. So illegalities, that needs to be dealt with. And one of the priorities is to deal with illegal transshipment, popularly known in local parlance as cycle. And when you go to Elimina, you see a lot of these trawlers who catch fish that they do not need, and some of them are mostly juvenile that have not even produced, and they are caught, and then they are bagged, and then they are frozen, and then they are stored, they are sold to local fishermen, and this is denying us the benefit of our fishery, and it is contributing rapidly to the decline of the fish stock, and this must be dealt with. In the 2020 budget, the budget statement has said that in 2020 government will look at addressing the cycle, but we can't even wait till then. It must be stopped now, and it is easy if there's a political will.
Right. Well, it seems like it's all about enforcement, isn't it? Enforcement, and voluntary
compliance.
Well, I don't know about the voluntary compliance, because I remember that last year when this whole closed season issue came up, the fishermen had a very good point, and I could relate. They said, you're asking us to not work, essentially, for 2 months. So how do you expect that we would, be able to sustain our families? How much education is going to have to be given? And what's the government going to have to do so that they are complying? Apart from the deterrence, actually the incentives to make them comply.
Yes, that is very important, because in the fisheries, you don't manage the fish, you manage the people who catch the fish. So the communication with the people and the consultation must be very adequate. So for us, we have even called that for the 2020 close season, the consultation must begin now for fisher folks to understand which month, so that they can have some time to prepare. For instance, I do not support fishermen being paid during the close season, because when the season is closed and it's closed well, the returns will come back to the fishermen in the future. So that is very important, because even when you go to sea and you get all the premix and you don't get the fish, you've run at a loss, because you bought premix and then you had other accoutrements and other tools and other supports you gave to the fisher folks, and you don't get the returns back. But getting the stocks, the fish stocks in place, building the stocks, is the important factor. Gives us the assurance that when fishermen even get the premix and go to sea, they would get the fish. We are even as saying that, look, all the monies that is put into the premix fuel subsidy, that's very huge monies, about close to 300 million Ghana cedi a year. We could channel that into other sustainable mechanism to support the fisher folks, and to also help some of them who would want to leave the fishing industry leave, because there's too many fishermen catching the few fish.
I was just going to talk
to
you about those 2 points, and the fact that because the premix is heavily subsidized, a lot of people have gone into fishing, and there is now overfishing. So like you said, too many fishermen catching too little fish. How do we deal with that? Because that is a major issue.
Yes, we need to deal with that, and we need the political courage and will to do that. Politicians are afraid to touch the premix, but I have advocated that when you touch it and you do it well, you even win more political support in that regard, because there is no benefit putting all these subsidies in the premix and then fisher folks unable to realize it. And because there's economic rent on this premix, a lot of people who are not fisher folks are even around trying to divert, trying to haul and making benefits out of this. We could do this. What we need to do is to have a plan, maybe a 5-year plan, to gradually phase the premix subsidy off. You don't take it off totally, you phase it off. So you have percentage phase off. So you could start to say, okay, we're starting with 20%, we go to 35%, we go to 40%, we go to 50%, and by the end of the 5th year, the subsidy goes off. That is a sustainable plan that you can work with. Coupled with this is that the assurance to fisher folks that the subsidies you are moving out will go back to them in another form. Because fisher folks do not trust that when these subsidies are taken away, they will still have access to that. But there's a lot of things that we could do. There are a lot of diversified livelihoods that we can be looking for fisher folks. There are a lot of things that we could do to support fisher folks, support their families in the dwindling state. But with the current issues and the lack of enforcement, the lack of compliance, the heavily subsidized premix, we are leading to doom. And if we don't try to take the drastic measures we spoke about, in the near future and very soon, we will not even have much fish to consume.
You're talking about drastic measures, and we know that sometimes it's election year.
Yes, it's election year.
Next year. So we're going to have to be very strategic about these drastic measures. If we still want to win elections and if we want it to be sustainable. Do you have any advice for politicians moving forward?
Yes, you see, the key issues is that we come into power to solve problems and not to compound them. And for us, government, NDC, NPP have never taken bold steps to address this issue. And subsequent governments, all of them, we would need to be courageous to say that let the fisheries laws work. Let's gradually phase these premix subsidies, and let's get the fish stock in place. And the multitude of Ghanaians who will benefit from a period of 3 to 4 years after these measures are implemented, it will help all of us. So the fact is that Ghana, we eat fish. Mostly everything goes to fish. Even breakfast, there's fish. people eat kinky fish. Everything goes with fish, and more people are moving from meat to fish. So this is an important factor, and for our nutrition and for the food security, it's very, very important.
Thank you very much for joining me this morning, Mr. Che Kojoyama. Thank you very much, and happy World Fisheries Day. Hopefully we can make a difference with what you're doing.
Thank you.
Thank
and
you.
Get some good fish today.
Yes,
World Fisheries
definitely.